We are going to talk about how the House of Commons is rising for a summer break today after these votes. And it'll bring to an end a few tumultuous months on Parliament Hill. It's also been a dynamic political time provincially and really around the world. So which leaders are getting a top grade and which ones are leaving a little more to be desired? We're going to bring back the front bench. Sabrina Grover, Melanie Paradis, and welcoming back Rachel Aiello, national correspondent for CTV. And because she's back, we're going to ask her first with your positive grade for a politician.
Yes, happy to be back. I've been watching that vote like a true nerd. So my positive grade is going to Justin Trudeau. I'm giving him an A for leaving when
Stop
he
the
did.
presses. First
Breaking
time in
news.
forever, but go ahead.
Yeah. Let's not forget about Justin Trudeau.
Wow.
It really feels like we have. So I am giving him my A because of the timing of when he left. You know, leading up to his departure for months, it felt like we were talking about he's gone on too long. He's waited too long. The party is never going to be able to rebuild and win again. But that is exactly what Mark Carney did. And I think kind of noting the moment and the state of the friction with U.S. President Donald Trump, and knowing that there was still a pathway and an opportunity that at one time he thought he was going to be able to leverage in Canadians being concerned again about the U.S., getting out of the way essentially so Carney could take on that lead. Like, he has allowed it for the Liberal government to maintain government. We thought it was the end of a Trudeau era, an end of Liberal red for quite some time, but here we are with Mark Carney looking pretty strong in his minority. So I think that some credit should be given to Trudeau, although I'm sure, you know, political memory is short. People take a little bit of time to look back with clear eyes, but I do think history will look back at Trudeau's decision positively.
Mel, you thought that you gave hot takes, but wow, Rachel's giving you a run for your money.
Gotta do it for the last episode of the season.
Yeah, why not, right? Mel, you're up with your good grade.
Okay, so I'm giving my A to Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston. He recently went viral with his incredible video, I Am Nova Scotian. I encourage everyone to give it a watch. It's really, really powerful and it inspires a lot of pride. This is a man who won a historic second mandate with the most seats ever in Nova Scotia. He's been a national leader on breaking down internal trade barriers, and Nova Scotia was the first province to legislate them. He's been fighting to get Nova Scotia to stand on its own 2 feet when it comes to getting resource projects moving. He's lowered the sales tax. He's indexed tax brackets to inflation, and he's also advancing an offshore wind project. I mean, he's doing a bit of everything, and it's really impressive.
Okay, before we go on to you, George, I just got a note that Bill C-5 is officially passed. It is now law, or actually, excuse me, it should be off to the Senate before Rachel jumps on me because she knows process like nobody else. It's live TV, Rachel. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah, it's off to the Senate, everybody, lest we forget about the upper chamber. Okay, George, before I make any more procedural mistakes, how about you save me with your good grade?
Well, the Governor General comes after that even. But I'm with you. And first of all, I agree. I'm happy for anyone to give Justin Trudeau an A as long as the next words out of their mouths are for leaving. So I'll support Rachel on that. My A goes to Saskatchewan NDP leader Carla Beck. Carla Beck became leader just a couple of years ago. I know it's hard to imagine, but the NDP in that province was basically one election away from probably packing it in. No New Democrat Party has ever faced that before, and it's not at all relevant in any way now. And
no, not at all.
After that election, though, she came just a couple seats short or shy of forming government. And really, like, this is the NDP had been kind of the natural governing party of Saskatchewan for decades. And then struggled after 2007. I was chief of staff there for a couple of years, and in just the 2 years that I was there, I worked for 4 different leaders. So there was a lot of turnover, a lot of struggle. But in that last election, Carla was able to put together a plan and a clear message for people across the province. She grew up on a farm, rural Saskatchewan, and got that message out and reminded people that the NDP is the party of working people and rural communities. She also, when Scott Moe dropped the ball on doing anything at all about tariffs, despite steel and resources being such an important part of the economy in Saskatchewan, Carla as leader of the official opposition, stepped up and started touring, working with not only labor but also industry. And then more recently, again, Scott Moe dropped the ball, and we're learning more and more about what a failure the evacuation process was in Saskatchewan, with the devastating fires that just ripped across the north, but much of the province. And again, she and her caucus went up to the community, really worked with folks, helped with the evacuation process, and are now digging into how to make sure that things go better next time. So just a stellar performance, and something that people didn't see coming, but you get the right leader involved. And she was able to rebuild that party. And I think, maybe a couple of years from now, after the next election, I won't have to say leader of the Saskatchewan NDP, but I'll be able to say Premier Beck gets the A. So looking forward to that.
Okay, Sabrina, we got to move on to you now.
All right, I think this might be a surprise to some, but my A goes to Doug Ford. I think that Doug Ford has played the first half of this year masterfully and has really been just phenomenal in a political masterclass in how you actually get things done. When we think back to earlier this year, that first engagement with Donald Trump, talking about the 51st state, the tariffs, he really emerged as Captain Canada. I think he was, of all of the premiers, the only one that I think took not only a firm stance, but also came with something to play with at that table. He had a threat on the table. He was able to execute it. Mixed reviews on after that, but he was the only one, I think, taking a leadership role, and I think that was important for Canada at the time. His calling of the election, some people might call it crass, I call it politics, to come out with another historic majority. I think that again plays really well into providing that stability in Ontario and providing that stability for the country when you think about the threats that Donald Trump and the United States will play. And I just think overall he's been a great communicator. The numbers are not reflecting it right now, and I think he is going to have some problems with the bill that he's put on the table with respect to energy projects and development in Ontario. But to date, I think he's done a phenomenal job. Mark it down, Mel. I said it. He's done a phenomenal job, and he really, I think that of what Conservatives have won and lost this year, I think he was a winner in the federal versus Ontario PC Conservative battle. So I think he's done a great job.
Okay, so we are running out of time, but I do want to get the bad grades in. I'm going to say that this is because we want to spread positivity, but if you can give me 10 seconds each on your bad picks, only because we are actually running out of time and not because we always like to be positive. Sabrina, start with you. Your bad pick, if you give me 10 to 15 seconds, I'll appreciate it forever.
Okay, I think no surprises for me here. My F grade goes to Pierre Poilievre, and as I discussed this with my colleagues earlier, I shout out to one of them for the best lines is, does he get an F or does he get an incomplete because he hasn't even shown up to work yet?
Love it. Melanie, you get your bad pick now.
My F goes to Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie, the incredible disappearing woman. Where is she? What's going on? That's it. That's all I've got.
Another person that obviously you feel, hasn't shown up to work, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, George, you're up.
Well, at least Bonnie Crombie has a job to show up to that she's not showing up to, so that makes her a bit different. We've covered the bill quite a bit, but I think Minister McKinnon gets my F, although sort of on behalf of a bunch of his caucus, his fellow cabinet ministers, this really has become, and I know I'm stealing this line, but the Prime Minister Carney is CEO Carney, and the cabinet has really taken a back seat to this stuff. And Mr. McKinnon did not take responsibility for this bill, does not really understand what it does, and can't defend it at all. And if you don't believe me, then some people should go find the clip with his interview with Vashi earlier this week. It is maybe the best example of a minister stepping on rake after rake after rake during an interview.